Starting with that, popping the cherry. Hey, lovies. Hello, hello, hello. We're going to give it just a second here and let everyone jump on. Actually, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so Facebook changes things constantly, and I'm like, if you guys are popping on, please let us know that you can hear us. Please say hello so I can begin to see the comments, make sure we're good. I'm popping the cherry. Woo! Already, woo! Of this gorgeous divine goddess. Awesome. Hi, Steve, Amanda. Yes, so we are live and rolling. Will you guys just give us a heart or thumbs up? Lindsay, good to see you, my love. If you guys can hear us okay, that would be epic. You've got this gorgeous, amazing view behind us, and I was actually referring to this. You've got this gorgeous, amazing view and this gorgeous, amazing view behind us, right? So we're still at the sacred temple. Thank you guys for hearts and loves. Love you so much. We're at the sacred, beautiful temple, and I have one more day basically here with this gorgeous goddess. And so I've been really craving sharing some insights from my journey and experience here, sharing this divine, beautiful woman and our interaction and just the juiciness of life and this whole other level of, I feel like, codes and activation and essence I've been able to pick up in really enjoying the juiciness of life. So this truly is a popping of the cherry because Amber has never done a Facebook Live.
It's a true story.
She never has. She's kind of a sacred hidden gift and gem. And so we're popping the cherry. And along that role of conversation, as we just went for a beautiful little sushi date. I got to take her out. Her birthday is next week, and I'm going to be off onto my global citizen journey adventure in the next couple days. So I got to take out this lovely for her birthday. And of course, every conversation we have, I'm like, man, I want to just be sharing this for everyone to hear this level of way of living and way of being. And you guys just sitting here for a minute. First, let's just breathe. Let's just breathe all this in. Look at this. It's so good.
It's so good. And speaking of the juiciness of life, the breath being an opportunity for us to slow down and really allow ourselves to savor the moment, to come into closer contact with what is here by really actively receiving it with the breath. And as we exhale, allowing the softening that we can share more generously and freely into the space that which we are.
Yeah, do you see what I mean? I can just be like, listening all day long. This is what I've been enveloped in for the last, month I've been here. Almost a month that I've been here. And I actually want to tell our story. We have the best story ever. It's so juicy. And along the way, share with you some of these insights. Some of my experience being here where we got to go into deep immersion and ceremony. Yes, Christine, bliss is what we're experiencing for sure. Along with all of that, obviously, which was just such a blessing and a gift, as we're just having conversation, and it's about this way of living, this way of being. For me, I feel like there's this whole other level of activation coming from me. And I shared the other day a little mini insight about, on my journey, two things that really came through that I wanted to share was, first off, why are we really human? Like, why did we choose in on this human experience? And secondly, are we willing to completely engage with all of it? And that is so much of the codes that I've been receiving from Amber is you can see how she just operates in this place of like juiciness. And so I feel like my level, I was already really juicy. It's true. Pretty down juicy, and the pussy's likely gonna be wet. And yet, there's so much more.
There's always more.
There's always so much more. I feel like I've really, and we'll share, some of the insights around this, but I feel like I've really have an internal representation now of just, not only have I felt like since I've been back, which has been amazing to see my interactions with people, it's felt like everything is, I'm so in love with every being in front of me. I'm so in love with like every experience, and everything is just like, I'm so in love and captivated by each moment. And my life is fucking amazing. And like the next moment coming up, like I leave for Hawaii in 2 days with another one of my besties to do all this fun stuff, and I'm so in this moment. And like our whole day has been just like, it's one juicy moment after another. And I receive these codes of really allowing a deeper sensation of sensuality and juiciness. And so before maybe I share our story, our fun story of how we came together, which is such a beautiful lesson of universal alignment and flow and allowance, maybe like let's share just on being in the juiciness of this moment, of each moment.
Yeah, the juiciness of each moment. Well, we were sharing earlier today about how, for me, my experience is that our senses, like we think of our five senses as very physical senses, and they are, but really our senses are simply a translation of vibration. And most people get really stuck on a very limited experiences of what our senses are capable of translating.
I'm stripping, by the way.
Just
it
do
just
it, honey.
feels like it's time. It's so warm.
Getting lighter.
Yep.
And yet our senses are capable of translating so much more than most people even realize, right? And so we can learn how to broaden the aperture of our senses so that we can receive and perceive so much more of what's already here. And part of that is slowing down. Can we allow ourselves to slow down and drop beneath the noise and the activity and all the doing that's constantly happening, to be able to, again, receive and perceive more of what's here. So the difference of like smelling a flower we were speaking of, you can smell a flower
and
or
move on. And you think that that's being like, oh, at least I stopped and smelled the flowers.
But you can really stop and really come into a communion for a moment with this flower, where when you're smelling it, you slow down and you really allow yourself to receive the essence of the flower, and then all kinds of subtleties begin to light up and happen inside, where this one moment of communing with a flower can be so ecstatic. Orgasmic, truly. Or when you taste something, like how often do you just eat for functionality, or you're just eating and you're talking and you're doing other things and you're not even...
We're so distracted from what's really available and in front of us.
That's right. So you're not in presence, really able to receive what's here, the richness that's always here, just this expanded experience. And so the slowing down to become more present with allowing ourselves to receive the pleasure that is inherent within every moment when we come into a deeper contact with it.
There's two things that are showing up for me as you say that I want to bring presence to, which is when you said the aperture, meaning like feeling that an expansion in your body, what came through is there's a level of practicing how much. That's how we really begin to allow it. As you and I talked about how years ago when I used to do TV, it was like I came through like and believe me, you guys know that this still can be my experience as I begin to channel. It's like on podcasts and on shows, and I found myself this last couple weeks, every time I got behind the camera and I was on a show or whatnot, this old almost pattern of like, there's so much I got to give and so much I got to share, that this faster speed came out of me, where really as I've been experiencing for a while now, the slower my essence pace began, and the more like worthy I was of just like being present with everything and feeling the juiciness and aliveness of everything. That was like it's been a practice. It's been a practice. So what it brought up for me is the thinking of like the expansion into it is a practice. Like even as you, because I want to always bring into play integration tools for you of how you begin to live this, because it's a great concept to be like, I remember thinking like, oh, when I first realized I didn't stop and smell the flowers or see the flowers even. I used to only see the weeds on the side of the road. That was literally the construct of consciousness I came from, which was life is hard, all there is stuff to do. So, I mean, it was way beyond my fathom of possibility to think like, stop and smell the flowers. So even when I came to the place in life to see flowers, that was a new practice, was looking for the flowers, looking for the beauty in everything, looking for the good in everything. And then it became, oh, am I present with my breath? Am I present with the person in front of me? Am I in this moment? And how can I allow that? And really, guys, you can see already how the way Amber operates is such a high level of impeccable integrity with her divinity. Such a high level that is a divine, gorgeous, fucking blessing reflection for me. And obviously I called in at this level of my next allowance and evolution to see this reflection in front of me, which then gives me codes and allows me to experience it, that I'm like, and like everything is now a practice of how much more pleasure I can take in with it. From even just like cuddling, like the eye contact, like can I take in the being in front of me with all their glory and their beauty, and embrace that, where years ago, just to even do a practice or an exercise, like, okay, we're gonna, you go to those seminars, right? And we get to do this, just stare at the person for 1 minute, and you're like, oh my God, this is so weird and uncomfortable. I'm acting like it's not. It's fine. It's really fine. I promise I'm okay. Okay, good. They moved on. Now, like, Amber and I do these deep stares all the time, right? We're at dinner and everyone thinks we're so lesbian lovers, which, we're talking sex and we're talking all of it was so good and juicy. And it's just like, just in appreciation and noticing how, for me, what's become available in every moment is appreciation. And appreciation is the energy of abundance, is the energy of receiving. So it's like, I'm constantly like, seeing this beautiful reflection and just in so much appreciation, and she's so enveloping. I'm so blessed. That's what we're talking about, though, is like, yes, guys, heart it up, enjoy that. And the level of, as we're talking about experiences and relationship and sex and, beloveds and like an abundance of love for all things and just our connection to all things, it's been like such another level for me of feeling another level of divine, feminine, and masculine dance and play, of receiving and giving. And that's all we're here to do. So let's pull it back, because I went a lot of places there. I always like to bring it back, is bring it back to like, oh, where in your life maybe can you sit longer? Can you breathe it in a little deeper? Can you stare into it? Can you create presence with it? Can you feel the vibration? I feel like this is going to be a sex live. We could do orgasmic noises. I mean, I've been practicing those all week long with medicine. It just wants to love on me. Yeah. So I've had the best cosmic, galactic orgasms ever. Every time they get bigger and greater, because of course we're worthy of more joy. So that's really so much of what I've picked up in this juiciness. And it's not just, the juiciness of this place. I mean, look at this. But this is like the level of, almost expectancy, and of course we don't have expectations or attachments. We just know our life is worthy of miracles and magic because we're divine beings. And when you look for it in everything and you're literally in the sensuality of it, and one of the things I shared the other day is that that's what we chose into with being human. And instead of us choosing into it being like about struggle and hard, we can choose to learn and from like how much bliss can we receive, how much love and pleasure and joy can we have, right?
And that in every moment it's actually a choice of where you're choosing to focus your perception. Where is your lens focusing into? What radio station are you tuning into in any given moment? Because this topic of being able to perceive and receive more of the pleasure and the richness and the depth that is actually embedded within every moment when we're willing to bring our attention towards it. And even if it's not obvious, that we can know that it's there. And if we're genuinely curious and interested and we begin to coax it out with our interested attention, like playfully, like, I know you're in there, I'm going to find it, even in difficult moments. I mean, this is where the rubber really meets the road, is in moments where what's showing up is not your preference, and it might be a challenge, right? That even in those moments, can you know that there's a gift in this, there's beauty in this, and I'm going to find it, and I'm going to coax it out to play. And it's hard for it to resist when you're coming from that energy
of play.
It naturally
when you're
wants
coming
to
from
come
play,
out. Absolutely, and then it can begin to expand and open, and you can completely transform something, and that's the alchemy. We were speaking earlier about alchemy. It's that alchemy is essentially taking something that's considered to be of lesser value and transforming it, transmuting it to something that's considered to be of greater value, right? So in every simple moment of life, this opportunity is here for us. And there's another piece to this that's really, you're speaking about, giving and receiving, and we reach this flow of life. It's like the breath, right?
We're
giving
prana,
and
life
receiving,
force,
and but really, it's really about being in a fluid exchange with life. Where we're actually even taking an energy of transaction out. That it's not that, I'm giving
and then I'll
receiving,
receive, or I have an expectation or attachment or transaction.
Right. But that actually we're in this fluid exchange with life. We're literally bringing it back to the breath. That what we exhale is what the trees require to inhale, and what the trees produce in their exhalation is what we require to inhale. So it's this flowing exchange of life exchanging with itself through us, as
just like we're one with the whole. When you actually realize I'm a particle that gets to serve the whole, and then the whole serves me, and it's just this beautiful exchange. And the reason I went because you said something and it made me think of your poem. I'm so in my medicine, right? And I am butt naked on this I'm like, it's not even concrete, it's beautiful stone. I literally am in this this experiencing coming back into my body, and I dive into this gorgeous infinite. It was almost about this time. It was about 7 o'clock at night, right? I was doing some inner stuff for many hours. And I dive over to the edge of the pool, and I'm like hanging on the edge of the pool, and I'm in communion with Gaia and the sun and all these things. I can't even feel my body. My body's like, I don't even know where my body was, like just waving back and forth in the water. And as I come back over and I'm laying down and just like literally relishing in the sun on my naked body and like just all of it. And then you shared, you came out to play. She's like, and you shared a poem with me that you wrote, and you've never actually performed or shared. Is that something?
I've shared it in person, but I've never recorded.
But it is like, I mean, the words to this, again, that's why I was like, sweetness. Your words are such a transmission, and it's about wonderment and curiosity and play. You want to share it?
Sure.
I kind of like,
She's got me.
I got you. I'm
She's
popping
got
your
me.
cherry.
Just popping cherries left and right.
That's right. Let's do it.
So these poems began coming through a few years ago, and they're really transmissions of essence. So I love the language of poetry. It's really the language of my soul, and I feel like we can bypass a lot of the noise of the mind and logic by really speaking the language of poetry and the quintessence of something that wishes to be translated and transmitted. So this is actually the first one that began coming through. And just a little preamble before I share it here. It's really a conversation between knowing as intellectual or egoic knowing, which is a limited form of knowing, because there's obviously many types of knowing. There's a deep felt sense knowing where you just know something to be true. That's not the knowing I'm referring to here. I'm referring to an egoic knowing, really having a conversation with wonder. So this one is called No Wonder.
Love it.
I wonder. Oh, because it's so much more fun than knowing. Wonder creates an instant sense of spaciousness, inviting delight to dance through, rearranging the furniture that knowing had carefully placed in calculated relationship to fit perfectly where it belongs. Return to innocence, the heart whispers, so softly, yet insistent. The deafening roar of silence. Curiously turning towards the sun, which shines its rays indiscriminately. Illuminating darkness dispels confusion. We see what has been here all along, awaiting our arrival. Beneath veiled pretenses of self-importance, suffocating judgments, towering ideals obstructing the view, lies a most magnificent garden, where essence blooms, indescribable beauty that simply is. Essence loves to play, rolling around on the ground, in the waves of life, on the winds of change. Response able, not taken so seriously.
Yes.
Free to be. With a wink and a nod, caressing knowing's furrowed brow, she lovingly offers, if you must know anything, no wonder.
Yes. Woo! Isn't that amazing, right? Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure.
I felt so blessed to take that in that moment, and it's just like, that is the point. That is and there's a couple things that I want to share on, is that through my journey, and the reason I have always dove deep into medicine and all these things, those that know me and follow me know that I've traveled the world, always in search of the levels of activations, remembrance with my DNA, clearing my cells, all these things. And because it made such a radical transmutive shift inside my imprinting to change it, right? And so getting to, you know, have this experience and going through this massive shift, what I found is the last time, this was a little over a year ago, I think I told you this, is when I took my last group down to Colombia to do ayahuasca. For me, as we did 6 days of journeys, every single experience for me had become pleasure. Like every message, everything was like so broken down to like, I finally had done enough of the releasing and shifting the imprinting in the cells and the cleansing and the clearing, that everything was like, oh baby, you just need to remember liberation and pleasure. Yes. Everything was pleasure. And then I came back, and on my birthday, got to do you know, a DMT series, and it was in the past it had always been like, I experienced being fucked open by the universe, and then I experienced going into a place where the little girl that was scared would like shiver, and all this stuff still got to come out and be healed and released and felt and released. And on my birthday that time, it was just pure pleasure and fucking, and I was like, oh my God. And so being in this experience with Amber, you know, coming to this circle where everything, where we see the truth and reality is everything is pleasure. Everything is available to us, and it comes through wonder and curiosity. And I've taught for years and years that there's only two energies that always exist. There's always either love energy, which is the only energy that truly exists. It is creation energy, or there's the man-made energy, which is scarcity, lack. It's fear-based energy, right? And so when we recognize all things are always love, all things have always been fully love, and we embrace that this human journey can be a holy human experience that we chose into, that we were just like so excited to like, ooh, what is that juicy pleasure? And as you embrace that and you allow that, as we were talking about earlier, is all we do is we effortlessly receive. So this is the big key piece to living in a life of just magic and miracles and abundance and play and pleasure, where there's just more love to receive and more greatness, is that we've actually slowed down to say, I'm worthy of just feeling the sun on my face and breathing this in and being in this pleasure. So I think we should share with people our story.
I'd love to say one thing,
please,
to substantiate that bit before we move on to that, is that, yeah, all of that's absolutely true. And the arrival into that experience in a very grounded and a substantial way is the willingness to embrace the full spectrum of our experience, right? It's not denying any aspect of it.
There's no spiritual bypass.
Right.
We're fully in all of it.
Ecstasy truly is our capacity to embrace the full spectrum and the willingness to fully be with whatever is arising in our experience. So not trying to bypass something because, oh, that's not pleasurable. It's actually, that is a pathway into a deep, lasting, abiding experience of pleasure, because we're not in denial. There's nowhere we're unwilling to go in ourselves. So we use the opportunities when fear presents itself, when pain presents itself, we use that as a ripe opportunity to discover our liberation on the other side by moving in and towards it, knowing this is just an aspect, a fragmented aspect of something that is seeking resolution back into wholeness.
And did you hear that? A fragmented aspect, so that is seeking solution and resolution back into wholeness. So I have experienced anger could turn into ecstasy. Pain turns into pleasure, right? Like, you know, stagnation turns into like momentum and movement and like serendipity. There's that is truly, it's doing the work that, again, we've gone the journey of loving. So when we know that it is love that always exists, and we look for it to be love, and you love it, that's truly the space that Amber holds, that is this whole other level of divine unconditional love. I've always said, as I do my own ceremonies or things at night, and I invoke and I call upon and request the imprinting, and I align to the imprinting of the frequency of divine unconditional love. Because a lot of times what you might call love is your human program that is also attached to pain or sadness or hurt.
Compromise.
Compromise. And, you know, instead of the truth and reality that love is ever expanding and love is natural. It's the easiest thing that exists, my loves. It is the easiest thing that exists. So thank you for clarifying that is a part of the journey.
And one more piece of that too that feels important to speak to is that, you know, speaking of pleasure, that, you know, often people think of pleasure as something frivolous, you know, or a luxury, right? But actually something that came to me a few years ago, and I've spoken it many times, is that, you know, we're collectively moving from this age. Like now, quite some time we've been in a cycle where we've collectively agreed that we grow and we evolve through challenge, through struggle, through conflict, right? And yet what we're beginning to realize collectively now, and that there are some of us who have devoted our lives to living this way and being a demonstration of its functionality, is that we are fundamentally designed to continually innovate and evolve through pleasure, through play, through joy.
And that is the easiest way to evolve.
And it's the most efficient and effective and fun.
Working with vibration, everything, right? That's all we've been in play. And sometimes I notice that as I share my life, it's like it's all miraculous, magic, miracles. And even today I did a show and they're like, you know, asking if I ever experienced shit. And that's the funny part, is like, well, yeah, but see, for me, the shit is, it's all inclusive. Right. It's all a part of it. There is no separation from any emotion. There's no judgment or story or blame, all of it. And because I am so accepting of it all in that moment, I receive it and move and align with the next level of its feedback and resolution to the entire being a whole, just like that. That gives, you know, more and more pleasure, which allows us to receive more. So it is such a beautiful recognition of all of it.
Right, exactly.
All of
and
us.
it's like when you're not resisting or judging the shit, right? I mean, like, it's just what's on its way towards composting, becoming the fertilizer for the next level of growth.
It's like the cleansing. Yeah. I used to say that it's chaos. Clarity always comes before chaos, or comes after, you know, chaos always comes before clarity. That's it. And really, chaos is just cleansing. Chaos is just feedback. And so even for you to hear that, when it was a big shift for me in my life when I began to embrace pain, because I no longer saw it as a bad thing, something I should run from or judge or shame or blame. It was actually one of the greatest gifts, because it meant any stagnation, it was allowing me to be ever evolving and to receive the next gift, you know, which obviously is, you know, our lives, as you said, we both choose to stand as an example of living in alignment to that knowingness of our divinity, and living in that place of learning through pleasure and how much joy we can accept and love, and that really is kind of like how we met, you know, like we have the best story ever, guys. This is a story that reflects, you know, like letting go of all control, releasing all control, never having to try to do anything or strive for anything, because again, like, it just is fun and play, and when we're in that place. So do you want to share, or should I?
You can start.
Okay, so, and when I lived here before, I had the magical manifestation mansion. When I first got the mansion, joined a new gym in the area. And now as I think about it, I'm like, I probably could have totally joined the gym just because of this magical being. Yeah, wasn't aware of it at the time. So I joined this gym, and I remember, like, one of my first experiences there, looking up and seeing this woman that was just captivating. I was like, jaw dropped, like, staring. I was one of those. I just realized that, oh my God, with all the guys that do that, and I used to be triggered by it, and guys knowing my past experience, it used to send me running, because I felt so uncomfortable and unsafe because of my past experience of rape attempts and kidnappers and stalkers, and the past experience I used to attract. And now when a guy does the at the gym, I just go,
your beauty. That's right.
Yep. He's enjoying it. I am a beauty, and it's safe for me to be beautiful.
Yes.
So there's a whole another some nugget. And so I was one of those. I was like jaw dropped, staring at this woman, and I'm like lost in her eyes. I was captivated by this woman, and there was something about her presence, her essence, just her, you know, her energy. Energy never lies. So I was like, there is something so divine about that being, and yet we were always like at a distance. So I would like find moments where I just wanted to stare at her. First off, her ass is amazing. I mean, her face, everything, obviously, like, she's just beautiful, but it was way beyond external, because I actually, like, I see beauty in everyone and everything, but I was just like captivated by her. And I just knew she had something, her essence, her code, she was just a divine being. And then there was times I'm working out and I look up,
and I'm looking over at her and thinking, like, wow, what a badass
gawking
woman.
at me. She was checking me out, and I'm like, maybe we're both checking each other out a lot at the gym. And I could just, you know, and again, not everyone's loving this. I could not. There was never because we own who we are. There was never like a catch you looking at me and look away and make it awkward, whereas there was like an
smile,
acknowledge, like we
nod.
like, yeah, I see you appreciating me and I'm appreciating you, and we just would acknowledge, yet we were always just like at a distance. And I remember one time, like there was so many times I was like, you know, like feeling her essence and this like connection to her, yet again we never force anything. So there was no strive or try. And there was one time she was just close enough and I was like watching her and she looked up and made eye contact with me, because there's plenty of times we like acknowledged each other acknowledging each other. And I literally was gonna be like, you're beautiful. Should I say it? Because you're just far enough away, but not, you know what I mean? It was like there's people in between and machines, and it's like there's a whole gym scene going on, and we're having like a love affair from far away, and no, not right now. Not yet. So that's happening. Meanwhile, for a long time, people had kept continuing to name drop this beautiful woman to me and say, oh my gosh, you've got to connect with Amber Hartnell. Do you know Amber Hartnell? And I would hear her name. I'm like, no, but yeah, you know, like how we both operate in life is like, yeah, sure, okay, perfect timing. It'll all line up. Like it's not something we seek after or have to do. And
meanwhile, the same thing was happening for me,
Yeah.
that 5 or 6 people were like, Marci Lock. I'm like, who is this woman? And then I see this vehicle driving around sometimes. She has this epic, those of you that know Marci, this wrapped vehicle, the galactic cosmic wrapping with Marci Lock, locking down the truth. I'm like, wow.
Badass being on
Badass being. I'm like, that's pretty epic.
Yeah.
I didn't
Fuck
know
yes,
that
Libby.
was her, seeing her in the gym. I didn't associate the name with the face because I hadn't seen her face yet.
yeah, so I feel this call a couple months ago, right, to shed all things, shed all identity, shed the mansion, shed, you know, even all the things that I was choosing to do, my masterminds, my retreats, my clients, etc., and leave. And I leave and I'm somewhere off grid, and someone shares something, posts something with her and her picture, and I'm like, oh my God! That's that fucking chick from the gym! Like,
This came together.
oh my God, no wonder, like, the name that had been dropped was this gorgeous woman I'd always been checking out at the gym. And again, like, so then I think the same thing happened. I'm gone, something pops up, you're like, that's Marci Lock!
Same, yeah.
So then as I am gonna be returning here because I had one thing we left on my schedule this year, which was my 3-day event, the Clearing the Path to Enlightenment event, which was here in San Diego. And so my assistant, normally she knows exactly what I like. She knows like I love sacred spaces and all this good stuff. She would have just naturally been like, cool. She was already starting to look into places for me for San Diego. And something said to me, drop it in conscious community, drop it in the community. And I never am like, take care of those details, but I told my sister, I'm like, hang on, I get to drop this in the community. So I post in the community, hey guys, I'm coming into San Diego, I'm requiring an epic space to rent for a month. Next thing I know, I hear from this goddess, this divine beauty, right?
Yeah, and so for me, on my end, I'm rarely ever on Facebook, actually, which is partly why I'm popping my Facebook
We're popping
cherry
her
here.
cherry today.
I'm not often on social media, and something just compelled me to open Facebook, and when I opened Facebook, I clicked on the notifications. There was a notification that popped up on the San Diego Conscious Community Board. Felt compelled to click on that specific one, and then Marci's post showed up on my feed. And the moment I saw it, something flashed inside of me, and I was like, I felt compelled to reach out to her. I'm like, okay, I have this space, this incredible space. I've got a casita here at my
Guest house, cottage,
beautiful
gorgeousness.
temple, and at the same time, I said, well, that's strange, because I'm also very
sacred with her energy, just like I am. We're both super sacred about our space.
We do. It's the field that I generate that's required for me to do my work, and also the space and the quiet that's required for me to offer my work from. It can't be compromised at all. So, you know, I'm not inclined to offer my space to guests. I mean, I do occasionally have guests of people that I know really well, but certainly not to offer to somebody I had never met before. So I was like, okay, that's interesting, and I just let it be there. Didn't take any action. Let the day go by, and then that evening I was getting ready for bed, and all of a sudden just this inspiration rose up and through me and compelled me to reach for my phone, pull up Messenger, and send her a message, and just to acknowledge I'd seen her post, and that I don't know honestly why I'm reaching out to you right now. This is a little odd for me, you know, to be offering this to you, but I'm willing to explore it because there's something here. I feel there's something here to see if this is a good fit. So we entered into a communication in that moment because she was online, and we just began writing back and forth and realizing, wow, we really speak the same language here, and there's a deep understanding, and there's an immediate immediate resonance. And
Yep.
so we hopped on a call together and instantly realized we were already
Bing,
in
bing,
love.
bing, 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 bing. Yeah.
We're like, okay, there's clearly a lot more here.
So
Like,
much.
yes to offering you a space to be for the month, but it feels like there's something deeper that wants to happen here
Yeah.
from us coming together in the same space.
Yeah, and really from as I got to, as we were just sharing, really how we live, all of our principles of alignment aligned, really. It was like, this is how we operate. This is, so it was such finding someone who's matching in that resonance is unique and such a
Very
gift.
rare, yes.
And then hearing what she does, there was literally like something alive, and it was like interesting. Like, I've actually been pulled off, like, and told to like just be. Like, everything in me was like, you just get to be and allow. My commitment was let things come through, whatever wants to come through my essence. There's no more like thinking something through, like, well, where could I go for tantra? Where could I go for this medicine or that? There was none of that. It was like, just be. And all of a sudden, as she described to me her gifts and abilities, and this woman, if we get a chance to share sometime soon, we will, because we're actually going to be doing, I've been feeling no call to do any type of retreats or any experiences, and next year we're actually aligning to do a group experience together involving medicine and the deep integration work I do and the deep integration work she does. So at some time, I'm sure we'll share with you more of her story. She literally was woken up at 7 and with these gifts, and for 30 plus years have been like developing these unique gifts and codes that allow such a massive clearing and imprinting and shifting in this space, along with the support of medicine. So as she's sharing with me, and I'm hearing like, I'm just hearing so many codes and things inside that my soul was like, oh, that's also probably why this has shown up perfectly in my space. And it was calling me forth to that. And again, we had no attachments or expectations, even nothing at the time. I was just like, wow, that feels amazing. That sounds amazing. There's something around that. And again, we're sitting with it, but we're following. We're in wonderment and curiosity as we follow and we allow. And so we just knew, we're like, well, like the next step is, obviously it's a yes. So notice it's the next step. The next step is it's a yes for me to come and be there. And there's this space of also trust that, what the universe provided. And seriously, guys, I mean, like, I'm so in awe of when of just being completely always taken care of by the universe. It is my ultimate lover. If my assistant tried to find the very best space for me, there's no fucking way we would have had all this. I mean, I'm not just talking about the gorgeous space and the view. It's a sacred temple. It's literally activated and gridded. The fact that we came about doing an immersion and we did medicine, and then, we had the blessing of another one of your divine sisters who, like, I obviously was sisters with right away. She came when I was on medicine. Then the next day, all 3 of us are in medicine. We're all like doing this trifecta ceremony together every single night. And we were just shedding layers and layers, and getting to witness you give your gifts and hold that space was a whole nother level of codes I received for another level of my activation of my gifts and what I create for individuals and the people that I surround. And so it's like all of this called forth this next level for me, as then now I get to go out. There's Jody, I love her! Yes, Jody, we're talking about you! Yes, getting to experience Jody in this space, and the 3 of us together is this beautiful trifecta, and then having what felt called, again, listening. Before we had last night, and Matt actually came in and did some ninja energetic, surgery and alignment on us and connecting. It was the night before. You guys were like feeling like, I feel like Matt gets to come into the space. And then that was like effortlessly provided. So see, as we listen and we allow and ask for more support or receive that support, we've had the most, I feel like this last week alone has been like, I've been in mystery school for a year. That's what I feel like. I feel like that's the level of attunement my system has activated, and I've gone through, again, all of it. Like, I shared how I felt like I got hit by a truck yesterday, and you guys knew. I was like, woo, and we went to the farmer's market, and I was trying to be in it, and I was like, my system's requiring some love on myself. I'm gonna go back, and I rested and meditated, and no matter what, my system was just like very like uncomfortable as these unconscious programs were evolving and emerging through. And then what got called into the space, obviously with Matt's assistant, like some massive things came out and click, and all of a sudden I was like, new human suit just locked in. Like, the codes have been integrated, and I feel them aligned. So and guys, the level of expression I'm even sharing around this is so limited to the actuality of what I experienced and what we've been able to create. And in this space. And so I'm like, there is no such thing as time. Time is so irrelevant. All things are so possible, and all of it took us literally just dancing and playing. As we played with each other, as we relished in each other's beauty and appreciation, I got reunited with not only one of my soul sisters, like divine family, even Kim, your beloved. Like when we first all interacted, she's trying to show me this face, and the three of us were like, like the three of us were like little giddy children reunited, ready for play. And so we know there's now so much more that we get to assist and serve, and just as I'm receiving all these codes and I'm so in appreciation, she shares with me appreciation for the codes she's receiving from me, and it's like how that's showing up at the perfect time. You see this beauty, this beauty of
the
it.
Exchange. Again, in the exchange, when we enter into that truly fluid exchange with life, there actually the distinction between giving and receiving dissolves.
Yes,
you can't actually even differentiate between who's giving, who's receiving. It's just this equal flow and this exchange. It's happening through us and as us, and continuing to open us into more of that which we already are, that gets to emerge and be discovered, and through one another's reflection, because we all hold pieces of each other's story. And when we come together in this way, where with a true humility and in that wonderment and the genuine curiosity and interest, well, what's here? What can we discover here? You know, and knowing that we're all equals. We're all on an equal playing ground here. So no one is better than anyone else. No one's more evolved than anyone else. We've all just chosen to focus differently.
Yeah.
And so in our focus, we've cultivated in different ways. So there's ways that I'm deeply cultivated because it's where I've chosen to focus, you know, for 30 plus years, you know, in particular ways. And so yes, there's a level of mastery that's been cultivated through experience, and yet Marci has come from a different direction and chosen to focus and cultivate in ways that are very powerful, that aren't ways that I have yet focused, yet are ways that are my leading edge of what I'm actually turning into and what's being required for the next level of everything that's coming forth through me. So the ways that we plug into each other and unfold something so much greater through our synergy is the most fun game to play. And that's really what we're all about, and why we're excited to be sharing our love and our juice with you, and creating an invitation for more play,
life.
that we want to play with more beings in this way, which means that we want to create spaces for beings to feel liberated, to feel the freedom of feeling connected to our unique gift, honoring the value of our uniqueness, and receiving our own gift for ourselves, feeling worthy to receive so fully the gift that we are, so that we can offer the overflow of our gift into every exchange.
Yeah, and that's a huge point right there, is just that when your field, it's overflowing. There is no lack. And instead of the place where we go, oh, I have to give, that is a low vibration level of love, which isn't really love. It's really sacrifice. You're teaching sacrifice, and you're giving sacrifice, and you're just being an expression of sacrifice.
Well.
All those things, you see the difference and feel the difference of when I am just like, I'm loving and honoring, and I love and honor everyone in front of me and all of my experience. I'm so filled with love. Like I feel like I'm nonstop, like, I love you, thank you, I love you, thank you, I love you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Like appreciation. We're both just constantly like,
drink this moment
breathing
in,
it
even
in.
more fully. Just how much more can I just like drink in the richness of what's here right now, and that piece we were speaking about earlier, that being so essential. You know, there's often so much focus, and what I observe in people who are focusing on what's next, like what am I creating next, what am I manifesting next, and although that's all beautiful, because we're going to always want to create more, right? No matter where we are, there's always more to experience, and yet the more comes so much easier and in ways that surprise and delight you beyond your wildest expectations, when you're focused on fully acknowledging and appreciating what's already here, what's already been created, what you're already in the middle of. And when you can just be in that and revel in that is more than enough, then life's like, all right, well,
there's nothing lacking in anything you're experiencing.
Right, and so when we're in that state of absolute acknowledgement, appreciation of what's here, life's like, all right, so you know what to do with what's given. See that you're fully appreciating that, you're fully squeezing every drop of juice out of this moment, so let's just keep giving her more. So let's see what she does with this, let's see what she does with this, and then it's just this constant unfolding of miracles and blessings, because that is our interaction.
Yeah, and can you really see them in front of you? It reminds me, the last thing I really want to point out, because I get to do another ceremony night, and we're going to do that soon. So soon I'm going to let you guys go, and I'm going to enjoy all this goodness. Is when you're able, again, as we said, fully engaging in all of life, able to receive it. And it reminds me of, like, even this last week, I think it was when I was even with my boys, like, everywhere we went, I kept finding money on the ground. And like, you know, walking past it in the parking lot, and there's a penny. And of course, I mean, I remember one was like, had tar, and it was all dirty, and my boys were like, ew. And I was like, thank you, universe! Thank you, thank you, thank you! And it's like, I see the penny, and when I choose to appreciate the penny, I'm actually just saying, yes, I receive money. The amount had nothing to do with it.
It's all energy.
It was, yeah, exactly. It is all energy. And so the thing I really want you guys to tune into here is realizing that everything in front of you, or everything is available right now in front of you, that is, for your highest evolution. There's nothing that you got to go seek out and find. And that's why I say, like, when I'm in front of Amber and I can see this, take in the beauty of this reflection and how she operates and her codes and her essence, and I can breathe into it and I can receive it. This is right in front of me. It showed up at this time. It's the kindest act my soul was calling for my evolution. Just like my shit will show up as the kindest act for my evolution. Everything in front of you. And as you respond to that consciously, as Amber was speaking to, when you respond to it with love and appreciation and acknowledgement and allowance and surrendering and feeling all of it, that opens up the next thing in front of you that is for your highest, greatest evolution. So it's all here. It's all available. All this beauty. I think we have like a heart sun between us too. Look at that. It's like me.
Golden glow.
We're so in love. So this has been the official Amber cherry popping.
It's done. I have now officially been on a Facebook Live.
You have been popped.
It all gets
and
easier
I'm so
from
honored.
here. Thank you, Marci.
It's so good.
You're so
I love
gentle
you
with me.
guys. Oh, you know, hey girl, I got you. I got you. More to come. More to come. Thanks for joining us, you guys. I was so just wanting to share the juiciness that we've been in and share the juiciness of this beautiful woman, and I'm sure we'll be sharing more soon. But we're going to go do some fun stuff.
Yes.
Love you guys.
So much love to all of you.
Bye.